You're listening to the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com.
Welcome back, Charleston, as the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show continues here on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com. We're talking about properties that tried to sell last year. They were on the market maybe for a few months or maybe a year, or maybe they've been on the market for several years with multiple agents and they still haven't sold. Or maybe you're thinking about putting your home on the market this year and you want to get it right the first time. You don't want to have your home on the market for 6 months and learn some hard lessons or be a guinea pig for a newer agent that hasn't quite figured out their process and their marketing plan and how they're going to create all this exposure and value for you and your home to sell it for the most money possible. So what I want to focus on now is, again, how are we as a team, how am I personally taking listings that other agents have represented previously, rebranding them, repositioning them, and getting them sold. In many instances for very close to what they were previously listed for. There are plenty of sellers out there that need a price adjustment. We just talked about that. But let's focus on marketing for a little while. And again, if you're one of those sellers that's either thinking about selling your house or you've tried and it just hasn't happened yet, feel free to give me a call. My number is 843-345-1273. That's my cell phone. You can call or text that number, and we'll have a conversation off air about your plans and how my team and I might be able to help you. Again, 843-345-1273, or visit me online, listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. So when we talk about marketing, there are a few things that consistently come up that other agents just are not doing a very good job of. And so I'm going to be a little hard on real estate agents first, and then I'm going to be a little hard on the seller, actually. The first thing that we always look at is, okay, aside from the price, let's push price to the side for a minute because I think we've already talked about that. And price is a case-by-case basis. How is the property, what's the online appeal look like? You know, if I click on that property in the MLS, what is my experience like? Or if I go to Zillow or Trulia or Realtor.com, basically the big three websites that people use to search for real estate, what am I looking at? How are the photos? How is the description? Am I getting a good sense of what it means to not only live in this house and the amenities associated with it, but also in the area? You know, if I'm moving here from Idaho and I know nothing about West Ashley, what is it about West Ashley that's so much different from James Island or Johns Island or North Charleston or Somerville? If you're not explaining that in your listing in an attractive and creative way, then you're missing opportunities. The first thing we look at is, was there professional photography? And in many instances, the answer is no. And I am convinced this is not me bragging. I think I have the best professional photographer in the business in this area. They're not on my staff. Other agents use them as well. But man, are their pictures awesome. They make a property look fantastic without tricking people into thinking that a room is 3 times as big as it actually is. It's just a nice, super clear, wide-angle lens that if I'm standing in the corner of my kitchen and the kitchen connects to the family room and there's a foyer down the hall, I can see it all, just like I would be if I were standing in that location. You want your pictures to tell a story. I position my pictures so that it's as if somebody is walking through the house. There are so many properties out there that have floor plans that are not wide open. You know, it's pretty easy when you have an open floor plan where, you know, you're basically living in a big box in a living area and then you've got some bedrooms positioned throughout the house. It's pretty easy to see how that home is laid out. But what about all these traditional homes? What about all these brick ranches that haven't been opened up yet or renovated? What about all these traditional homes downtown or in the historic district of Somerville that are very much so a traditional floor plan? Well, we use a 3D tour. It's called a Matterport tour. And it's a virtual tour on steroids. It's as if you've put on a VR headset and you're looking around and you're walking through the house. It is super cool. And we get a lot of compliments when we post those properties and those videos online because buyers want to be excited. They want anything that you can do to create an emotional connection or spark something inside of them to get them excited is a good thing. You want those people looking at your listing longer than other listings because if your photos are not attractive, I can almost guarantee you that that buyer is going to very quickly skip over your listing and go to something else. And they're going to say, wow, what a world of difference. So the first thing is just photos. How does it look online? Do we have some attractive features on the property that might be really cool if we captured them with aerial photography or a drone video or something like that? So there's no one-size-fits-all approach to selling real estate and the way in which you market it, because you have to look at the features of that individual property and say, what about this place is special? What's the story here? What is the likelihood of this kind of buyer purchasing this property versus this kind of buyer? Who is this ideal buyer? How do we find them? Those are the things that we look at and the plan that we put together to sell the property. Again, description is incredibly important. We have to tell a story. We have to have them understand not just, you look at so many of these listings and it's feature. It's granite, stainless steel, new cabinetry, pine flooring, crown molding. Well, they can see that from the photos. Yes, it's important to have them in the description, blah, 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 but you need to use that as an opportunity to craft a understanding of what it means to live in that house. What makes it a home? What makes that neighborhood special, that area special? How convenient is it? Or is it not convenient? Is it secluded and that's what those buyers want? You just need to find the natural qualities of that house that attracted you to it when you bought it and then just reposition it. So many agents really fail at that. Another thing that I'm seeing happen more and more is we are now, even more so than we were several years ago, because we were still doing it back then, but we are providing more and more staging consultations to sellers so that when we walk through their house and we're putting on the lenses of a would-be buyer, we're saying, okay, what can we do to declutter this room? Can we take some of the furniture that you have in your house and reposition it? You get so used to living in your house that you forget you're selling a product. When you put your property on the market, you are selling a product. Your salesman or saleswoman and their product knowledge and their market knowledge and their ability to speak intelligently to the public about your property and what makes it unique and why they should buy your home over other homes is the difference between selling your home and having it sit. Period. And that's what agents need to get really good at. But unfortunately, the art of sales has been, in many instances, lost due to technology. Agents are now so ingrained with technology that's supposed to do their business for them and their job for them that they're just simply not putting in the effort. I can tell you that on my website, and this is maybe a little Big Brothers, maybe some of you won't visit my website after I tell you this, but when people go to my website and they register for information, let's say they look at a property in Somerville. Here's an example, okay? I'm just pulling this out of the air, but this is how it works. Let's say somebody goes to my website and they look at a property in Somerville, but they don't register their information. Well, guess what my website's going to do? It is going to now follow you around online, and it's going to give advertisements to you to draw you back to my website. So all this, we do 50 separate social media marketing campaigns per listing when we put them on the market. Our social media lead generation for our listings is huge. And so when we follow people around and we bring them back to the site and they then register and we know what they're looking for, then of course we're communicating with them. But the site is also communicating with those people on a behavioral nature. So as an example, let's say you go to my website and you look at the same property 3 times. Well, my website's going to automatically send you an email and probably a text that says, hey, I noticed you've looked at 140 Joseph Lane 3 separate times. Are there any specific questions I can answer with you? And my chat bot is going to, talk with you until that chat bot can't answer questions anymore. And then it's just going to let me know to step in, and boom. I'm now having a conversation with a real life buyer that has serious interest in one of my listings. And once I answer their questions and I convert them from an online shopper into an actual buyer, I then get to show my clients I not only know how to find the buyers, but I know how to convert them. And that is the skill that takes time and is unique and is a skill that, unfortunately, most real estate agents do not have or do not spend a lot of time on. Their theory is, hey, I just need to generate a bunch of leads. And How are we going to do that? Well, most agents don't have a very big budget, so they do things like open houses, or they try to play the Facebook game, but they don't really understand how. And so they just kind of scratch their head. They say, well, you know what? I'm not really going to take listings anymore because I'm just not generating enough business on them. So I'm more of a buyer's agent. There's nothing wrong with that. Buyers need help too. But a skill set that a listing agent should have is the ability to not only generate a massive amount of activity on your property in a very constructive, proactive, and targeted way, but they also need to be highly skilled at converting those leads into opportunities for them to sell your listing, because they represent you and your best interests and have a fiduciary responsibility to sell your property over other properties. And that comes down to, when you go on Zillow, I want some of you to do this right now. I want you to go to Zillow, and I want you to just search for a home in your area. There's a little arrow button, and when you do that, you pull up a listing, and when you look at that listing, you will see the photos, the description, a bunch of other stuff that Zillow provides to you, and then you're going to likely see a list of 4 separate real estate agents to contact. These are what we call public listings or non-exclusive listings. So the challenge with that is if a listing agent represents a property online on the 3 biggest websites that people use in the world, Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, and they finally get to a point where they say, hey, I'm interested in this property. I want more information. They've got 4 agents to choose from. That is no different than me taking a listing and agreeing to work with the seller, and I put my for sale sign in the front yard, and then 3 random agents come by and they also put their for sale sign in the front yard. And so now I've got a 25% chance of actually having a conversation with the interested buyer about my own listing. And that's why Zillow is so darn rich, because they charge agents to have exclusivity, or at least they used to. They don't even have it as being an available option anymore. Any agent that starts marketing their properties on Zillow cannot have exclusivity. And what I mean by that is if you go to Zillow and you type in 140 Joseph Lane in Somerville, 140 Joseph Lane in Somerville, you will see that our listings are exclusive. I'm the only person you can contact. Other agents don't have the ability to communicate with my buyer leads on my listing. So when it comes to marketing, one of the biggest things that I can tell you is that I could spend all the money in the world on marketing and exposing your home to the public, but if I don't have the ability to control the conversation between an interested buyer and myself and my team, then we are missing opportunities to sell your home, because they're getting in the hands of agents that don't know anything about your listing, or might have an ulterior motive to sell them one of their own listings, or because they don't know anything about the property, they hate looking like they don't know what they're talking about. So they say, well, hey, what about this area of town? Actually, there's a really nice listing 5 miles down the road, and it's their listing, by the way. And so I'm getting off on a tangent here, but I think you guys understand some of the intricacies now of rebranding a property, reintroducing it to the market, and getting it sold. So just a few quick resources for you before I take a final break, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to hit some of these guides really quickly. But if you would like a copy of the 90 Things to Do to Sell Your Home for top dollar, or the Homeowner Guide to Remodeling, or How to Interview a Contractor, text the word GUIDE, that's GUIDE, to 843-345-1273. Again, text the word GUIDE to 345-1273, 843-345-1273, and I will email that over to you. Of course, if you'd like to reach out to me and talk about real estate, if you're in this position where you either want to put your home on the market and get it right the first time, or you've tried selling and it just didn't happen, then give me a call and let's talk about a plan to get it done for you. Again, my number, 843-345-1273, or go to my website, listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Stick around, folks, for the last few minutes of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com.
It's the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show. Broadcast Saturday mornings at 9 and Sunday mornings at 10 on the Big Talker.